ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activity, karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have a complete faith in chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on these matters. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Let us move on to our next part of the session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who will join this morning?
हरे कृष्णा विनीता गंधर्विक माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदासी फ्रॉम शार्लेट हरे कृष्णा
Priti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksha Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining every day and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. This is Balavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Balavrinda. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna, Balaram.
Hare Krishna Balaram. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashomati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining early morning, mid morning, and chatting so beautifully. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj is my humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Raleigh.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण विनीता गंधर्विका माता जी प्लीज एक्सेप्ट माय humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Komadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and blessing all of us, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mata ji, very very nice. Nice to hear you. Hare Krishna. Doing so many services.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Pooja Aroda from Haridwar. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your association. Nice chanting, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Shiromani Nandarani Devidasi from Krishna Katadesh. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shiromani Nandarani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devi Dasi from Lincoln. All glories to Balavrinda for waking up so early and chanting.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and thank you so much for encouraging Vrinda. Hopefully she will do chanting only because of our group, Mataji. We are having this group, that is why she is able to get up and chant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, dear.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. You were telling that you are 9th grade. Is that correct? Did I heard last time? Correct?
Yes, Mataji.
Haribol, well, thank you so much for joining every day. Such a small kid, but then you are joining. Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Okay, we will start. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 1st chapter, verse number 17. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your valuable time and association. As usual, we are waiting for your wonderful class and wonderful PPT, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Please take over.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share Krishna Katha. So let me just share the screen and then we will start today's discussion. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shvadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session and also giving me an opportunity for sharing some thoughts on this very wonderful verse of Srimad Bhagavatam today. So anyway, so let's chant the verse, read the translation and purport and see what we can learn from today's verse. 6.1.17. So we have started the section on Ajamila. Sadrichino hyayam loke pantaha kshemo kuto Shushila sadavo yatra narayana parayanaha. Srila Prabhupada's translation. The path followed by pure devotees who are well behaved and fully endowed with the best qualifications is certainly the most auspicious path in this material world. It is free from fear and it is authorized by the Shastras. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, just hold on for 1 second. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm really sorry. There was some issue with my PowerPoint. Just give me 1 second. I will just fix it and then I'll start it again. Just give me 1 second. I'm really sorry. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, I'm sorry for the delay. So we had read the translation, verse and translation. We will now read the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes that one should not think that the person who takes to bhakti is one who cannot perform the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Karmakanda section of the Vedas, or is not sufficiently educated to speculate on spiritual subjects. Mayavadis generally allege that the bhakti path is for women and illiterates. This is a groundless accusation. The bhakti path is followed by the most learned scholars such as the Goswamis, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramanujacharya. These are the actual followers of the Bhakti path. Regardless of whether or not one is educated or aristocratic, one must follow in their footsteps. Mahajano yena gatasya pantaha. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 17.186. One must follow the path of the Mahajans. The Mahajans are those who have taken the path of devotional service. Shushila Sadhavo Yatra Narayana Parayana. For these great personalities are the perfect persons. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.12, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavatya Kinchana Sarvair Gunis Tatra Samasate Suraha. One who has unflinching devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. The less intelligent, however, misunderstand that Bhakti path, misunderstand the Bhakti path and therefore allege that it is for one who cannot execute ritualistic ceremonies or speculate. As confirmed here by the word Sadri Chinaha, Bhakti is the path that is appropriate, not the paths of Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Mayavadis may be Shushila, Sadhavo, well-behaved, saintly persons, but there is nevertheless some doubt about whether they are actually making progress, for they have not accepted the path of Bhakti. On the other hand, those who follow the path of the Acharyas are Shushila Sadhava, but furthermore, their path is Akuto, which means free from fear. One fearlessly follow the 12 Mahajans and their line of disciplic succession and thus be liberated from the clutches of Maya. So, here Prabhupada primarily in this verse, in the purport, he speaks about the false understanding of the Mayavadis that who think that Bhakti is meant for those who cannot practice, who may not have the determination and the endurance to practice karma or jnana. So that is their allegation against the devotees. So one of the themes that we will discuss today is this very important question of, is incapacity the cause of devotees not accepting jnana and instead choosing bhakti? Is their allegation right? How do people choose appropriate paths to follow? This is the first theme we will discuss today, and slowly we will move on to further themes. So, for those of you who have been attending, the Bhakti Aloka sessions recently, we have been discussing on this theme of enthusiasm, utsaha. So, to practice any process or to perform any activity, we need enthusiasm. So what inspires enthusiasm is described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Bhakti Aloka in his essay on Utsaha. So he says the opposite of Utsaha is apathy or indifference. So, and he says that the state of apathy develops from carelessness. So he says one should practice devotional service without deviation, which means without deviating, without breaking in between, with enthusiasm. And he quotes this verse from Bhagavad Gita: Tam vidya dukkha samyoga vyogam yoga samgitam sa nischayena yoktavyo yogo anirvinna chetasa. So here Krishna says, Tam vidya dukkha samyoga vyogam yoga samgitam. What is yoga? He says, yoga means a state which is separated from all miseries. That is yoga. And he says, Sa yogo nischayena yoktavyo. That yoga must be practiced with determination. And Anirvinna Chetasa. Anirvinna Chetasa means uh, because success will not come very easy. Whenever success does not come, one should not become unenthusiastic. One should not lose enthusiasm. One should, motor along with enthusiasm. That is the meaning of Anirvinna Chetasa. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes the commentary of Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan in this book. He says, in his commentary on this verse, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan Mahashay has said, Atmanya Yogyatva Mananam Nirvedastad Rahitena Chetasa. The meaning is, one becomes indifferent to whatever work he feels unqualified for. So, here Srila Prabhupada is talking this purport of this verse that we are reading today as about the allegation of the Mayavadis that they allege that devotees do not take up karma and jnana because they are lazy or do not have the intelligence to pursue jnana for that purpose. But here Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, acceptance of a particular spiritual path or and enthusiastically pursuing it, or rejection of another path and not pursuing it with enthusiasm, depends on what one feels one is qualified for. Okay. So when a person has a particular qualification for bhakti, we will see what it is. Then he will pursue bhakti with the path of bhakti with enthusiasm. When he has qualification for jnana, then he will pursue jnana with the path of jnana with enthusiasm. And when he is qualified for yoga, Ashtanga yoga, then he will pursue the path of Ashtanga yoga with enthusiasm. Right? So therefore, it is not a question of whether a person is incapable. It is a question of faith and qualification. Where does one have faith and what and qualification? Okay, so we will see both. So here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, devotional service should be performed in this mentality with enthusiasm. When one identifies that one is qualified for devotional service, one should definitely practice bhakti with enthusiasm. So he says, regarding bhakti yoga, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam. So what is the qualification for bhakti yoga? This verse says for qualification for karma yoga and jnana yoga. So what is the qualification for karma yoga and jnana yoga? He says, nirvinnanam jnana yogo nyasinam iha karmasu teshu anirvinna chittanam karma yogastu kaminam. So what is the qualification for karma yoga and jnana yoga? He says, nirvinnanam jnana yoga. So for those who are completely detached, nirvit means complete detachment. For those who are completely detached from this material world, how? Because their heart is purified. And how their heart gets purified? By practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga. So by practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, detached practice of one's Varnashram duties, when the heart becomes purified, then the person becomes qualified for Jnana. Nirvinnanam Jnana Yogaha and Nyasinam Iha Karmasu. So therefore, such people, they detach themselves from ordinary fruitive activities. So the Jnanis don't pursue ordinary fruitive activities not because they are lazy, but because they are detached. But a karma yogi may see, a sakama karma yogi may see a Jnana Yogi as being lazy or worst case, irresponsible. And uh, an uneducated or an uninformed karma yogi may think, hey, what is this? This person is so irresponsible. He is not performing the duties of his varna and ashrama. But little does the karma yogi understand that the jnana yogi is pursuing the path of liberation, and his heart has no material desires because his heart has already been purified by the practice of karma yoga. But he thinks that the Jnana Yogi is not performing karma because he is irresponsible, lazy. Whereas the Jnana Yogi knows that he wants to pursue realization of Atma and Paramatma. Yastu Atmaratireva syat Atmatruptascha manava Atmanye santushto tasya karyam na vidyate. For one who is qualified to pursue the Atma, tasya karyam na vidyate. For him there is no varnashram duty to pursue. But a karma yogi may not know this. So he may think that jnana yogi is irresponsible. Similarly, a karma yogi and a jnana yogi, they may think that a bhakti yogi is, a karma yogi may think that a bhakti yogi is irresponsible because he is not engaging in those varnashrama duties. And a jnana yogi think that a bhakti yogi does not have sufficient either purification of heart or sufficient intelligence to pursue jnana. Okay, but is this true? Is this true? In the next verse, he says, Yadrichaya matkatadau jata shraddastu yah puman na nirvinno natisakto bhakti yogosya siddhida. He says, what is this verse talks about the qualification for bhakti. Okay, why is a bhakti yogi not pursuing karma or jnana? Is it because he is lazy? Is it because he is irresponsible? He says no. Yadrichaya. Yadrichaya means somehow or other by good fortune. Good fortune means accumulation of agyata sukriti by association of devotees. So if someone is qualified to accumulate lot of agyat sukriti by association of devotees, what it leads to? Jata shraddha. It develops to development of faith. Faith in what? Mat kata adau. In hearing Krishna's pastimes, in chanting his names, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. In these limbs of devotional service, he develops faith. And what is the nature of that faith? When that faith develops, na nirvinno. That person, he neither becomes too detached from things of this world, in the sense external detachment may not there in that person. He may utilize things in Krishna's service, whereas a Jnana Yogi will not utilize anything because he is disgusted with this material world, and he thinks that any connection with this material world will lead to my downfall, my getting attached to it. So therefore, such a Jnana Yogi, when he sees a Bhakti Yogi using things of this world, he thinks, oh, insufficient detachment, insufficient knowledge. But he does not understand that the Bhakti Yogi is practicing Yukta Vairagya, engaging it in Krishna's service. Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatarham Upayunjatah Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. And at the same time, another symptom of this faith which is developed by the association of devotees is na ati saktah. there is no intense attachment which is seen in the karma yogis, because of which they have to perform their varnashram duties to get the fruits of their karma. So the nature of the faith that is developed by the association of devotees is that there is neither intense nirvit which is seen in the jnanis and nor ati asakti which is seen in the karmis. Therefore, when karma yogis and jnana yogis see the bhakti yogis, they may think that, oh, this person is lazy, this person is unintelligent, this person is irresponsible. That's why he is not practicing karma or jnana. But in reality, this is not true. In reality, the bhakti yogi does not perform those activities because he feels himself qualified to practice bhakti. He does not engage in those activities but engages in the activities of devotional service because he has received the treasure of Shraddha, the treasure of Shuddha Bhakti Shraddha from the association of devotees. So therefore, it is not incapacity, rather it is qualification, right? So here he says, the purport is this: for those who have attained indifference for material activities but have not yet realized spiritual activities, what can remain in their hearts besides indifference? So he is talking about the jnanis here. So who are the jnanis? So the jnanis have accomplished anartha nivritti, okay, destruction of anarthas, but not artha pravritti. Artha pravritti means a favorable attraction to the personal form of the Lord, which can inspire devotional service. So a jnani, his heart is cleansed, so therefore there is no attachment to this material world, but there is no attachment to establishing a relationship with Krishna also. There is only indifference to this material world that actually makes them get attracted to the Brahma Jyoti, which is a place which is devoid of material miseries. So therefore, for them, the undifferentiated Brahma Gyan is the topmost achievement. So therefore, because the Jnana Yogis have accomplished only Anartha Nivritti and not Artha Pravritti, therefore, when they see devotees engaging in material-like activities and engaging materials also in their spiritual practice, they think these people are karmis, unfit fellows. That is how they see, because they are not fortunate enough to receive the seed of devotional service. And for those who have not attained indifference for material activities due to lack of spiritual realization, there is no way to cleanse the heart other than karma yoga. So this is for the karma yogis. The karma yogis, their heart is not yet cleansed of material desire, so they practice karma yoga. So karma yogis' heart is not yet cleansed and they don't have the seed of devotion also. So because the karma yogi's heart is not cleansed, they cannot practice jnana yoga. And because they do not have the seed of bhakti, they cannot practice bhakti yoga also. Therefore, the only path which can purify them is karma yoga. And such karma yogis, when they see bhakti yogis, they will think that why these people are not performing varnashram duties? These people are crazy fellows. They're, how will their heart become purified? How will they even attain? They will think that, oh, these people are committing sin actually. It is a sin to neglect one's varnashram duty. So these people are sinners. Like that they will see. What they will not realize is that these people are actually, they are qualified for practicing a higher path. They think that only varnashram duties can fulfill desires. Only varnashram duties can purify the heart. What they don't understand, because they don't have faith in bhakti, they don't understand that bhakti is capable of purifying the heart. Bhakti is capable of fulfilling all desires, including Krishna Prem. So therefore, this perception of karma yogis and jnana yogis towards bhakti yoga is natural because they lack that faith that is needed to understand path of bhakti yoga. Okay. So, so he says that those who have realized spiritual activities and understood that material activities are insignificant attain indifference for all material activities, but they do accept some material activities as support for their spiritual awakening, but they still have no attachment to such devotees. He's talking about devotees now. So he spoke about jnanis who have attained indifference for material activities, but not yet realized spiritual activities. The karmis who have not developed indifference for material activities, but the devotees, they have developed indifference to material activities also, and they have realized spiritual activities also, and at the same time they do accept material activities as support for their spiritual awakening. This is called as yukta vairagya. Okay. In proportion to the degree that they discuss spiritual topics in devotion, freedom from material association is awakened as an extraneous fruit. So this is Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravanatanaha Kridyantasto hi abadrani vidunoti suritsatam. What we are doing right now, right? To the proportion that they discuss these spiritual topics in devotion, naturally anartha nivritti is also accomplished. So like that. And okay, then anyway, so a further verse he gives, we have often seen this verse, which also describes the symptoms of a devotee. So he has developed Jata Shraddho Matkatasu, he has developed faith in Bhakti, Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu. So we'll directly go here. Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu means he is disgusted with all prescribed duties because he does not think that the Varnashram duties are meant for me to practice. I have been prescribed Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. So he does not practice anything else. Veda Dukkatmakam Kaman. So this devotee does understand that sense gratification leads to misery, but parityagya api anishwaraha. He is not immediately able to give up sense gratification completely because anartha nivritti is still in progress. Okay. He is still a work in progress. So not that he does not want to give up sense gratification, but he is unable to give up sense gratification sometimes due to the pressure of his condition. And Jushamanascha tan kaman dukko darkamscha garhayan. And unable to give up sense gratification, he sincerely repents for engaging in such acts. Okay. So when a jnani sees that a bhakti yogi or a bhakti yoga sadhaka is also succumbing to these kind of forbidden activities, material activities, he thinks, oh, he has no qualification, he has no purification, that is why he is not practicing jnana. He has no intelligence, that is why he is not practicing jnana. These kind of things that they think, but what they don't understand is they have the treasure of the faith, pure devotional faith, which they cannot see because they don't have the qualification to see that pure devotional faith. They just see that these people's heart is not yet purified, like that. Anyway, one last point I want to mention, that they say that the Jnana Yogis think that these people's heart is not pure, that is why they don't take up to Jnana. And second thing that they say is they don't have sufficient intelligence, that is why they don't take up to Jnana. But if you see, even at perfected stage, when there is so much clear intelligence, and absolute purification of heart, still the perfected devotees reject jnana and take up bhakti only. So their argument that devotees do not take up to jnana because they don't have sufficient purification and sufficient intelligence is not true. But we can empathize why they feel like that, because they don't have pure devotional faith. So it is but natural that they will not be able to understand the position of a devotee. They will not be able to understand the glory of devotional service. So we have to empathize with them. We cannot be critical of them. So anyway, so this was one theme which I wanted to discuss, which is, is it true that devotees do not take up to the path of karma or jnana because of incapacity? It is not due to incapacity. It is due to different qualifications. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Lokesmin dvividha nishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yoginam. He says that, oh Arjuna, there are two kinds of people. I mean, because he's still in the third chapter and he had just described the second chapter. He has spoken about the Sthita Pragya also, who is a Jnana Yogi, and he has told Arjuna karmanyevadhikaraste mahapalechu kadachana, that you should do your karma and don't be attached to the fruits and all that. So Arjuna is confused. On one side you say Jnana is superior, and on the other side you say you're asking me to do karma. So if Jnana is superior to karma, why don't you ask me to do karma only? Why don't you ask me to do jnana only? Why you are asking me to do karma? So Krishna says, oh, you don't understand. Lokesmin dvividha nishta pura prokta mayanaga. Jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yogina. So he says there are two kinds of people with different qualifications. A karma yogi is differently qualified, and certain instructions that I gave, like karmanyevadhikaras, they are meant for the karma yogis. And certain instructions which I gave for the Jnana Yogis are meant for those who are qualified for Jnana Yoga. So you should know your qualification and accept those instructions which are meant for you. So the Shastras speak in terms of qualification. So it is not a question of incapacity or laziness or, or a question of irresponsibility. It is actually different. The people are differently qualified in terms of their faith. So primarily faith. So that is the first theme that I wanted to discuss here. Just hold on for 1 second. Give me just 1 second. I will just check. I have to check just one thing. Okay. So let us continue. The second theme I wanted to discuss. Okay. Let us start the second theme now, which is, I will just do a quick overview of what we have seen till now in this chapter, because this section we are discussing is a very critical section, because this is going to lay the foundation for the whole Ajamil episode. So the verses that we are going to see now in this section, till from verse 1 to not verse 1, you can say verse 7 to verse 19 are actually will be proved in the whole Ajamil's episode. So let us do a quick overview. In the first section, Maharaj Parikshit expresses his gratitude and asks a question to Shukadev Goswami. So Shri Parikshit Maharaj says, Nivritti margah katita adau bhagavata yata krama yogopalabdena brahmana yad asamsritihi. So he says, oh Shukadev Goswami, Bhagavata Adau Katita, you had initially in the second canto described Nivritti Marga. You had described about the path of liberation. Yata Krama Yogopalabdena. And even if devotees, even if the yogi may have some material desires, how gradually he can liberate himself asamsritihi, and escape the samsara and merge in the Brahman, Brahmana, you had described. Okay. So, therefore, he says, Pravritti Lakshanaschaiva Traigunya Vishayo Mune Yosav Alina Prakriter Gunasarga Punah Punah. The symptom of material enjoyment is taking repeated bodies in the material world with the object of receiving happiness of Swarga for the person who is not freed from Maya. So this also Shukadeva Goswami described by quoting the conversation that happened between Mother Devahuti and Kapila Dev. Pravritti Marga, Samsara. Nivritti Marga, liberation. You described both. So he is just summarizing, Parikshit Maharaj is summarizing the essential things that he has learned from Shukadeva Goswami. Okay. So, and then Adharma Lakanana Narakascha Anuvarnitaha Manvantarascha Vyakyata Adhyah Swayambhuvo Yataha. Anuvarnitaha Nana Narakaha. You also towards the end of the 5th canto described many varieties of hellish life. Adharma Lakshana, which are the results, that result from impious activities. And Vyakhyata, and in 4th canto you have described Adhyah Manvantara, the first Manvantara, Yataha Swayambhuvaha, which was ruled by Swayambhuva Manu. You have described about that. So he is just summarizing what all he has heard. Priyavrata Uttanapader Vamshascha Charitani Cha Dvipa Varsha Samudra Adri Nadi Udyana Vanaspatin Dharamandala Samstanam Bhaga Lakshana Manataha Jyotisham Vivaranam Cha Yatedam Asrijad Vibhuhu. Priyavrata Uttanapader Vamshascha Charitani Cha. In the 4th canto you described about the about the dynasty of Uttanapad, and in the 5th canto you described the dynasty of Priyavrat Maharaj. Tat Charitanita, about their pastimes. And Dvipa, Varsha, Samudra, Adri, Nadi, Udyana, Vanaspatin. You also described about islands, mountains, Varshas, oceans, etc. In the 5th canto in Vedic cosmology. Dharamandala Samsthanam, how is Bhumandala, the description of Bhumandala was elaborately described in the 5th canto, right? And then Jyotisham, you also described about the luminaries, the Shishumar planetary system, about the Dhruva planet, and all these things you described in the 5th canto. And Bhagshana Manataha, and how the upper and lower planets are divided into 14 categories. Like that you had described in the 5th canto, all this Vedic cosmology, the dynasty of Uttanapad and Priyavrat Maharaj in the 4th and 5th cantos. So now, after hearing all these things, I have a very critical question to you, my dear Shukadeva Goswami. Adune Mahabhaga Yataiva Narakan Naraha Nana Ugra Yatanan Na Iyat Tanme Vyakyatum Arhasi. O Mahabhaga, O greatly fortunate Shukadeva Goswami, Adhuna me Vyakyatum Arhasi. Now you please kindly tell me Yata Naraha Na Iyat, that how human beings can be saved, Nana Ugrayatanan, can be saved from these terrible pains, Narakan, which they experience in these hellish planets. How can they be saved? Can you please tell me? So basically, if you see, this is what he had to ask, but there is an etiquette. You can't just be interested in asking questions without communicating to the speaker what you have assimilated from what he has spoken till now. Many times we may have this bad habit of just asking questions without we meditate what question to ask rather than meditating on what is the subject matter that we have heard. So therefore the speak becomes very enthusiastic before the speaker is generally more enthusiastic to know whether the person has assimilated or not. And then if one has assimilated, then the speaker can get confident about the question that is going to come from the hearer. Otherwise, the question can be very irrelevant. Okay. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is following the right etiquette by giving confidence to Shukadev Goswami what he has heard and assimilated first. Yeah. And also not, it is a breach of etiquette, because the speaker or the guru is not obliged to answer the question, all the questions of the disciple. It is not a rule. It is not a hard and fast rule that the guru has to answer the questions of the disciple. So especially when there is no pranipat and seva, when there is no humility, and when there is no service, the guru is not a ATM answering machine. Whatever questions you put, the guru is not Google. He is not Google Acharya. Whatever questions you ask, he will answer. So therefore, here Shukadev Parikshit Maharaj is following the right etiquette. He is giving confidence to Shukadev Goswami that yes, I have heard and assimilated the essential teachings that you have given me. And then he is putting forth the question, right? So time and again, Parikshit Maharaj will be doing this, or Vidura, whether it is Vidura or whether it is Parikshit Maharaj or it is Shaunakadi Rishis. All the hearers, they do this because the speaker wants to know whether the subject matter has been assimilated or not. Then there is enthusiasm to answer questions, because those questions which are coming from a person who has assimilated the subject matter will be relevant questions. But if one has not assimilated the subject matter properly, then his questions have no value. Then the speaker is not obliged to answer such questions. Rather, he should take time out to explain the subject matter again, so that the person can assimilate the subject matter properly and ask relevant questions. Right. So for here, time and again, for example, I'll give one example. The second canto, after hearing through the first 3 chapters where Parikshit Maharaj, where Shukadev Goswami describes about the various paths of liberation and comparing them with bhakti and demigod worship and everything, he talks about all of that. After hearing that, Parikshit Maharaj says, Samichinam Vacho Brahman Sarvagyasya Tavanaga Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Harehe Katyatak Katam. So he says, O Anaga Brahman, O sinless Brahmana, Shukadev Goswami, Sarvagyasya, you are certainly full of knowledge. Harehe Katyatak Katam. And therefore you speak topics of the Lord. And by hearing these topics, Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam. My ignorance is certainly getting destroyed. My ignorance is certainly getting destroyed. Therefore, Tava Vachaha Samichinam. Therefore, your words must be fitting, because by hearing your words, my ignorance is getting destroyed. So this confidence is needed. Many times it could just be even a nod, or a facial expression. It could just be a nod or a facial expression. So many times devotees, they get this question: how could this narration of Bhagavatam go on 7 days 24 hours. Because for Shukadeva Goswami to chant these 18,000 verses will certainly not take 24 into 7 number of hours. Because it will take much less than that. Because people do, they do chant 8 hours per day Bhagavatam verses, and they complete it much fast actually. So how is it that here it has taken so long? 7 days basically. So if you see in the traditional Vedic system, the guru used to speak and then speak little bit, pause for a while to get a nod or some confirmation from the disciple that he has assimilated the subject matter. If not, he will speak a purport. Otherwise, he will just give time to the disciple to assimilate it. And the disciple with his covering his mouth as an act of respect used to hear little bit, meditate, assimilate, and then when he would give a nod, then the next thing would be spoken. That's how these things take long. That is why you should actually appreciate Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because for 7 days he spoke Vedanta Sutra to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not bother to give one small indication also whether he has understood or not. No indication. And after 7 days, when Sarvabhauma, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, he wanted to perform a particular pastime with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. That is not, certainly he did not behave that way with Ishwarapuri. He did not behave that way with Ishwarapuri, his own spiritual master, whom he wanted to actually correct Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Therefore, he was acting this way. He was not setting the example for how a disciple should actually, hear from a spiritual master. That was certainly not. Actually, that is why you have to appreciate Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya for his amazing patience and enthusiasm and his eagerness to teach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu adamantly refused to give him any sort of indication if he had understood or not, still Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued. This was very great, actually, honest. And probably that is one reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became pleased with him, and then he delivered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Anyway, so this is about the first section where he's asking this question, which is naturally born out of compassion. He's not able to tolerate. Actually, Parikshit Maharaj was holding this deep depression in his heart, because as soon as he heard about these various types of hells in the 26th chapter of 5th canto, his heart was broken. He paradukka dukhi. He really wanted those people to escape that suffering at any cost. But he was holding it so that the etiquette is not breached. So that the etiquette is not, because ultimately Shukadeva Goswami should feel inspired to speak. He should have the confidence that whatever he has spoken till now has been assimilated. Before you ask further questions and I speak further answers, whatever has been spoken till now, has it been assimilated? So that confidence is given by Parikshit Maharaj before he asked this question, which was tormenting him from inside. So now, Shukadeva Goswami, in answer, first proposes the path of karma, and Parikshit Maharaj rejects it. Okay. So Shukadeva Goswami says, Na ched iha eva apachitim yatam hasah कृतस्य कुर्यान् मन उक्तपाणिभिः ध्रुवं स वै प्रेत्य नरकान् उपैति ये कीर्तिता मे भवतस्तिग्मयातना. He says, na chet kuryad. If a person does not perform apachitim. Apachitim means karmakandi atonement. Okay. So karmakandi atonement. If a person has not performed the atonements yata amhasah kritasya, for all the sins, amha, it means sins, for all the sins that he has performed, mana ukta panibihi, there are atonements which one performs through mind. There are atonements which are prescribed, which are performed through words. There are atonements which are performed through actions, money, etc. But na chet kuryat apachitim. But if one has not performed atonement for the sins that he has committed, for the sins that he has committed using his mind, words, and actions. Not, of course, atonements also can be performed using mind, words, actions, and money and everything, and time, right? But for the sins that have been performed using one's mind, words, actions, etc., if he has not performed any atonement, saha vai dhruvam upaiti tigmayatana, saha vai dhruvam upaiti narakan, he will certainly attain hell, tigmayatana, and which will inflict him with terrible pain. And when will he attain hell? Pretya, after his death he will attain hell. Yeme bhavatah kirtita. I have told this to you already about the hellish suffering. So how can they escape? For every sin they commit, they should actually perform an atonement to rectify, nullify that sin. Then they will not go to hell. Okay. So here the Acharyas explain that testing the proficiency of his student Parikshit to understand his opinion on the matter, Shukadev first gives the process of atonement according to karma in 2 verses. Whether he has really understood the essence of what he has heard till now. So he tests, atonement, prayaschitta, karmakandya prayaschitta. So he says, if one does not perform atonement for sins committed by mind, words, or actions, singly or together, one attains hell with terrible pain. Maybe someone may commit some collective sin, like, dacoitry, 3-4 people may get together and rob a bank or rob people like that. They are like either alone or together with others for any sin that one commits. One has to perform atonements to rectify those sins. If it is not done, one will have to go to hell. This is the answer given by Parikshit Shukadev Goswami to test Parikshit Maharaj. Has he really heard the subject matter properly or not? Yes, tasmat pura eva ashu iha papa nishkritau yateta mrityor avipagyatatmana doshasya drishtva guru lagavam yata bishakitseta rujam nidanavit. He says, therefore, tasmat iha, in this world, mrityoho pura, before that person dies, before the person who has committed sins, before he dies, ashu yateta, he should strive. He should strive for what? Papa nishkritau. He should strive to destroy sinful reactions. He should endeavor to destroy sinful reactions. Okay. Avipadyata atmana, while the body is not afflicted. When one is healthy, one should find out what are the one should, for every sin that he commits, he should find out from an astrologer, someone, what are the atonements for this sin, and he should commit all those atonement. He should perform all that prayaschitta or atonement. Yata Bishak, just like a doctor, Rujam Nidanavit, who knows the cause of a particular disease or affliction, Doshasya guru lagavam drishtva chikitseta. He sees how serious or how not so serious is the disease and accordingly gives medicine. Like, my father is a blood pressure patient. So the last time my father went to a cardiologist, a doctor, he did his BP and he checked his history and did other tests, and then he said that, look, considering your age, he was taking a blood thinner, which was like, I think, Ecosprin 150 mg. So the doctor checked this age and the intensity of the problem, and he said, oh, you don't need to take Ecosprin 150 mg. You can take 75 mg. That is good enough for you. Doshasya guru lagavam drishtva. So a perfect doctor can assess how serious is the disease and then chikitseta, and then he will give medicines accordingly. Similarly, you go to an astrologer for persons who are qualified for karma. They go to an astrologer. Doshasya guru lagavam drishtva. How serious is the sin that you have committed? So chikitseta. They will suggest a prayaschitta, and for how long or with how much intensity you have to perform that particular prayaschitta will be based on doshasya guru lagavam drishtva. How serious is the offense? Considering that, not offense, sinful activity. So therefore, this is what he says: before death, quickly one should do this. Otherwise, if there is much delay, one must perform double the atonement, because the condition will be twice as serious. If in that particular life, a particular sin is not atoned for performing the karmakandya prayaschitta, in the next life, it becomes twice. You have to perform twice the atonement. So he says one should do this while the body is unafflicted with disease, old age, incapacitated. I mean, as long as the body is not incapacitated, when it can do things, the atonements, one should actually perform. One should actually perform these atonements. When the body is diseased, it is impossible to perform atonements. So therefore, it's not that in young age you enjoy all kinds of sinful activities, and when you become old, you can perform the atonements. No. Who is going to keep track of what are the sinful activities which has been performed? So as and when you do it, when your age and your health is permitting, find out and perform. Find out a doctor, a karma doctor, an astrologer or someone, and he will see doshasya guru lagavam. Is it serious? Is it not so serious? And he will suggest you atonements, and perform that atonement, get rid of that sin. So you don't have to go to hell for that particular sin. Like that, you have to do for every single sin that you do before you die, while your body is healthy. And when you reach an age when you are not healthy enough to perform any atonement, then you should not commit any sin also, because you are not capable of performing any atonement for your sin, right? So he says one should search out an expert in Dharma Shastra who can decide what should be done, just as one approaches a doctor who can see the seriousness or insignificance of a disease. Like that. So as soon as Shukadeva Goswami suggests this answer, this solution of Karmakandya Prayaschitta, Parikshit Maharaj, he's totally upset. He does not realize that Shukadeva Goswami is just testing him. He's wondering, how could you do this? How could you tell this? He becomes really agitated. He says, Drishta Shrutabhyam yat papam janan api atmano ahitam karoti bhuyo vivashah prayaschittam matokatam. So he says, janan api drishta shrutabhyam yat papam. The person has seen, he has seen that it is a sinful activity. He has seen that people who commit those sinful activities suffer. He has heard it from the scriptures that it is a sinful activity and if you do it, you will suffer. Jananapi, papam jana, he knows that it is a sinful activity, that it is atmano ahitam, that it is not beneficial for him. Karoti bhuyo vivashah. These people who perform this prayaschitta, they know that it is wrong for them, but still they don't do it for some time, and after some time they will do it again. Therefore, prayashchittam atam. What is the use of this kind of prayaschitta? How come I am surprised, my dear Gurudev, that you are suggesting this kind of an answer? So here he says, Parikshit criticizes atonement, saying it is unacceptable in 2 verses. So therefore, one important point is that seeking clarification is very critical, both from the superior should encourage it, and the subordinate should definitely seek clarification. There is a difference between questioning and seeking clarification. Questioning means you may question whether the person knows or not, or whether he has the right intention or not, whether the superior. Okay, that is an unhealthy mood. But seeking clarification, when you think that you are when it is absolutely not clear, it is very important actually to seek clarification. Otherwise, we will not get the faith to execute it with full confidence. So therefore, confidence, nischaya. In talking about nischaya or confidence, confidently executing, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that the essence of nischaya is doubt removal. Removing the doubts, seeking clarification. Because when the demon of doubts, when the obstacles of doubts are cleansed or cleared, then there is clarity. With clarity comes nischaya, endeavoring with confidence. So he says, one sees a king punishing a criminal and he hears about the punishment in hell and understands that sin is not beneficial. Drishta, he sees a king punishing a criminal. Shruta, he hears about the punishment that one gets in hell for, and understands that atmano ahitam, janan api atmano ahitam. He understands that it is not beneficial for me. But still, it is seen that a person commits the same sin again, even after doing the atonement. How does atonement destroy sin? Okay. So the root cause of that sin, which is the desire to commit the sin, is not destroyed by atonement. Therefore, I don't accept this process of atonement that you are suggesting. Kvachin nivartate abhadrat, kvachit charati tat punah, prayaschittam ato apartam manye kunjar shauchavat. Sometimes the person withdraws from committing sin, and at other times he seems to commit the same sin. Ato manye prayaschittam apartam. Therefore, I think that this whole prayaschitta is useless. Kunjar shauchavat, just like an elephant taking bath. Okay. So, therefore, this is very rightly he has rejected it, because Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he very clearly describes what are the duties expected of a qualified practitioner of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. In one of the previous sessions, I remember we did discuss this, so I will not go into detail in this. He says that Ananushthanato dosho bhakti anganam prajayate na karmanam akaranad esha bhakti adhikarinam nishiddha acharato daivat prayaschittam tu na uchitam iti Vaishnava Shastranam rahasyam tadvidam matam. He says, for a devotee, this is for a devotee, bhakti anganam ananushthanato dosha prajayate. He says, for a bhakti adhikarinam, for a bhakti adhikari, for one who is qualified for bhakti, Bhakti anganam ananushthanato. By not performing the limbs of bhakti, doshaha prajayate. Fault is born. It is faulty to not perform the limbs of devotional service. But na karmanam akaranad. But by not performing the varnashram limbs, the limbs of varnashram dharma, it is not a fault. Na doshaha prajayate. There is no fault in not performing the limbs of varnashram dharma. But it is a fault if he refuses to perform the limb devotional service. And then he says, Nishiddha acharato daivat. If by chance Nishiddha acharato, if he performs forbidden activities. Okay. He says, Rupa Goswami says, Prayaschittam tu na uchitam. He should not perform karma kandya prayaschitta. It is not he need not. It is he should not. He should not be engaging in performing karma kandya prayaschitta. Why? Bhakti itself acts as the atonement. So a devotee should be encouraged to perform bhakti. And that bhakti itself will take care of the commission of forbidden activities which may be impelled due to his strong conditions. Iti Vaishnava Shastranam Rahasyam Tadvidan Matam. This is the opinion of those who understand the secret of the Vaishnava Shastras. Okay. So here Srila Jiva Goswami writes that it is a fault if those qualified for bhakti fail to perform the required angas of bhakti, such as observance of Ekadashi or Janmashtami. If they refuse to perform those activities, it is a fault. It is not a fault if they do not perform varnashram activities. If they commit forbidden acts because of the influence of previous Vaishnava parad, atonement is not required. Atonement does not mean regret. Regret is there, but karmakandya ritual of the you go to a astrologer, they say, perform this puja, that puja for the demigods, do some Narayana Nagabali, some Kala Sarpa dosha, these kind of suggestions they give. The devotee should not be doing all those things, since these pure devotees do not have a natural tendency for sinful actions. So here pure devotees refers to sadhakas only, because here Srila Rupa Goswami is talking about duties expected of a qualified practitioner of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti only. He is not a perfected devotee yet. So he says, Bhakti alone acts as atonement. This is the conclusion of the Vaishnava scriptures. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj rejecting the proposal must have made Shukadev Goswami very proud. Wow, this person has perfectly heard. There is no fault if a person does not perform all the 64 angas of bhakti. The essential angas of bhakti are the first 20 and the last 5. So those are the most important limbs. They should not be taken lightly. They should be performed. But the other limbs, if due to non-availability of time, if one is not able to do the other limbs, that is fine. So therefore, to summarize, for a devotee or a sadhaka, he is at fault for failing to perform the essential angas of bhakti, but he is not at fault for failing to perform the duties of varna and ashrama. If he commits a forbidden activity, he need not perform the karmakandya prayaschitta, and for such persons, bhakti alone acts as his atonement. This is the essence. And Rupa Goswami gives proofs for that. There is a verse in the 11th canto. Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya tyaktanya bhavasya hari pareshah vikarma yachot patitam katanchit dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishtaha. He says, one who has given up all, I will just summarize the essential part of this verse. He says, if a devotee katanchit yad vikarma, if somehow or other, if he accidentally commits a sinful activity, sarvam hridi sannivishta, the Supreme Lord who is present in his heart, dhunoti, he only destroys yat utpatitam, that sinful tendency, very quickly. So therefore, if a forbidden activity is performed by a devotee, he has to depend on Krishna only. And again, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. He does not say you first destroy all your papa by performing karma kandya prayaschitta. He says no, just mamekam sharanam vraja, just surrender unto me, I will take care. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. And other verses like Devarshi Bhutap Tananam Pitranam Nakinkaro and Rani Charajan. So these Karmakandya people, they will say, oh, you are suffering because of Pitru dosha. So you have to do something to pacify the Pitrus. You have to do, you are having a poor eyesight because you have, Surya Dev is not happy. So you should perform some, some puja for pacifying Surya Dev and all that. So he says, no. One who has surrendered to Krishna, yata taror moola nishechanena trupyanti tatskadda bhujopashaka. He should water the root of Krishna. Nothing else. No, nothing else is required. Okay. So it was perfectly right, and Shukadeva Goswami must have been very happy and proud that Parikshit Maharaj immediately rejected it. So then Shukadeva Goswami proposes the path of jnana. He agrees. He says, Karmana कर्म निर्हारो नहि आत्यंतिक इष्यते अविद्वत अधिकारित्वात् प्रायश्चित्तम विमर्शनम. He says, you are right, Parikshit Maharaj, that आत्यंतिक कर्म निर्हार, complete destruction of sin, nahi ishyate karmana, it is not possible by atonement, because in this lifetime what you have performed you know, but in the past lifetimes what all sins you have performed, how do you know? Are you going to perform atonement for all those things? And who is going to find out all that? Okay. Of course, uh, uh, an astrologer can see at least the prarabdha karma from your astrological chart. But what about that karma which you have accumulated in past many millions of lifetimes, which are supposed to come in future lifetimes? How are you going to destroy it? Even the astrologer cannot read those karma at all, right? So he says, you are right, Parikshit Maharaj, completely counteracting sin is not at all possible by performance of atonement, for it is done out of ignorance, because even atonement is done with bodily identification only. So with bodily identification, what you do, you will not escape the material world. So as long as you stay in material world, you will keep on performing activities which will either lead to punya or papa, but for which you will have to again take birth to overcome it. So therefore he says, prayaschittam vimarshanam. The real atonement is attainment of jnana. Okay. So therefore again he says, by presenting the opinion of the jnanis, Shukadeva Goswami tests Parikshit Maharaj. So this is the opinion of the jnanis. The opinion of the jnanis is that actually complete atonement is possible by jnana. This is what they think, but this is not correct actually. This conclusion is not accepted, because the real root of the sin is not addressed even by jnana, right? So this verse says, Bhayam vitiyad abhiniveshitasyad ishad apetasya viparyayo asmritihi tan mayayato buddha abhajetam bhaktyeka isham gurudevatatma. So here it is said, what is the root cause of sin? So he says, ishad apetasya. When a living entity becomes Krishna Bahirmukh, turns his face away from Krishna, then what happens? Tan mayayato. Okay. Then Maya catches him. Okay. How does Maya catch him? Viparyayo and asmritihi. Viparyaya means, asmritihi means forgetfulness of his constitutional position. I am spirit soul, or I am the servant of Krishna. That he is made, that the living entity is made to forget, and Viparyaya means make him identify with his body. Okay. So Maya has now created a very virtual reality for him. Then what happens? Ishadapetasya tanmayato viparyayo asmritihi. Now when he has started identifying with the body, then starts Dvitiya Abhinivesh. Dvitiya Abhinivesh means absorption in matter. Okay. Absorption in matter. His body, his relatives, his country, and all that. Okay. So, so then what happens? Bhayam syad. Okay. Then there is fear of samsara. Okay. So, the path of karma and jnana can at the most, it can wipe out till here. Okay. It can wipe out the wrong identification. It can remove the forgetfulness of his constitutional position, and it can remove his identification with the body. But the path is not capable of making him Krishnonmukh. Only bhakti is capable of making him Krishnonmukh. And if he remains Krishna Bahirmukh, then anytime Maya can catch him again. Right? So therefore, the opinion of the Jnanis is that, oh, just by practice of Jnana, we can easily overcome. But this is not true. So then, Parikshit Shukadeva Goswami says, Nashnatah patyam eva annam vyadayo abhivavatihi evam niyamakrid rajan shanaihi kshemaya kalpate. Na vyadayo abhivavatihi. Diseases do not afflict those who eat proper food. Similarly, one who follows the rules gradually becomes qualified for jnana. So how can you become qualified for jnana? By following Nishkama Karma Yoga properly. By following Nishkama Karma Yoga properly, your heart becomes purified. And when your heart becomes purified, then you can peacefully meditate on Brahman. So that is possible. So therefore, he says, just like a person who eats proper food, he won't get diseased. Similarly, one who follows the rules gradually becomes qualified for jnana. And then he tells about what are the rules that needs to be followed: tapasa, brahmacharyena, shamena, damena, and so on. And finally, he says, if all of this is properly followed, Shipanti agam mahadapi venu gulmam ivanalaha. He says, if these things are followed, then even the greatest of sins can be destroyed, just like a forest fire destroys a forest of bamboo. You can say a bamboo forest. Thorough job. You will see there is not anything left. Everything is black. But just wait for a while. When the next rain comes, suddenly the bamboo shoots start coming up. Why? Because the real root of the problem, which is the roots, have not been burnt. It's whatever was above the ground was burnt, but whatever was below the ground was still there. The next time it gets the ground gets water, it starts shooting up. So this is the problem with even jnana, because the real root of the problem of sin, which is envy towards Krishna, is not addressed by jnana. Okay. So actually, he says that Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj is not happy. So finally, Shukadeva Goswami proposes, Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Agham Dunvanti Katsnena Niharam Iva Bhaskara. So he says that Kevala Bhakti is the actual solution, which destroys completely all these. Okay. So I will now have to rush because I am running short of time. So here, if you have read in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami describes how bhakti does a thorough job of destroying sin. Okay, so he describes that this in Kleshagni. He says Klesha means suffering, and suffering means the suffering has to be destroyed, and the cause of suffering also has to be destroyed. Otherwise, if only suffering is destroyed but the cause is not destroyed, it is not right. So I remember it is just like okay. Anyway, the cause of suffering, suffering has two types: prarabdha and aprarabdha. Prarabdha means the suffering that is going to manifest in this lifetime, or it's already manifest this lifetime, and aprarabdha means suffering which will be manifest in future lifetimes. So prarabdha and aprarabdha must be destroyed, but that is not sufficient. The cause of that suffering should also be destroyed. What is the cause of sinful reaction? It is sinful action. What is the cause of sinful action? It is sinful desire. What is the cause of sinful desire? It is avidya, sinful vasanas, impressions. All of that should be destroyed. Only then it is considered to be a thorough job. Okay. So otherwise it is not thorough. If you only destroy prarabdha and aprarabdha, how is it? Like, I remember once I had gone to a particular temple where I was giving class, and it was in the middle of we had gone to a farm community, and in the middle of the forest we were sitting and giving the class. No power supply, nothing. Just they brought a alarm clock and a small clock and put it there. Before starting the class, I looked at the time. It was 10 o'clock. I would have spoken for roughly about 1 hour, and I looked at the clock. It said 10 o'clock again. So then I looked at the devotees, one of the devotees, and I said, Prabhu, it is showing the wrong time. Maybe it's not working. So he took the clock, checked this wrist watch, made the, from 10 o'clock, he shifted it to 11 o'clock, and he put the clock and went. Then I would have spoken for another 1 hour. And I looked at the clock, it said 11 o'clock. Then I called the devotee and I said, Prabhuji, please change the cell. Because the root cause of the problem is not that it is showing wrong time. The problem is that there is no, the battery is dead. You have to change the battery. Otherwise, after 1 hour, you will again change it from 11 to 12. And then 12 to 1 and keep changing it like that. Just change the battery, then the problem is solved, right? So I'm not going to get into Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu now, right? So but I will just very quickly go through where so ultimately destruction of or complete destruction of suffering means the manifestation of current suffering in the form of prarabdha should be destroyed. The manifestation of future suffering in the form of aprarabdha should be destroyed, and future manifestations of sins should also be stopped. And that can be done only when sinful desires are destroyed and ignorance is destroyed. And in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami gives various verses. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover all those verses. So I will just say, you can please refer. I mean, you all must be mostly Bhakti Shastri already, or at least many of you must be. So where he quotes verses to describe how Bhakti destroys aprarabdha karma, Bhakti destroys prarabdha karma. Okay, I won't go into the purports and all that. And then he describes verses which describe how Bhakti destroys sinful desires also, which causes sinful action. Again, later in Ajamil's episode, when the Vishnu Dutas will speak with Yamadutas, you will see that they are speaking this verse. And how Bhakti destroys sinful vasanas also, sinful impressions, which instigate material desires, sinful desires. This is a verse spoken by the four Kumaras to Prithu Maharaj in the 4th canto, famous verse. So, and another verse also he quotes. So, from Padma Puran, he also quotes another verse about how bhakti destroys, does a thorough job. It destroys prarabdha, aprarabdha, sinful desires, sinful vasanas, and most importantly, even the root cause of that is Krishna Bahirmukata. Even that is destroyed by bhakti. This is the meaning of Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Agham Dhunvanti Katsnena Niharami Bhaskara. Complete destruction of sin means at every level it must destroy. Bhakti destroys prarabdha karma, aprarabdha karma, sinful desire, sinful impressions, and most importantly, Krishna Bahirmukata. It makes the Jiva Krishnonmukh. And later in the second chapter of 6th canto, we will see in one of the verses, the Vishnu Dutas will explain Yatastad Vishaya Matihi. I think this is 6.2.9 and 10, I think. In that last verse, he says, Yatastad Vishaya Matihi, Stenaha Surapo Mitradrug Brahmaha Gurutalpaga, Stri Rajya Pitrugohanta, Yecha Patakino Pare, Sarvesham api Agavatam, Idam Eva Sunishkritam, Nama Vyaharanam Vishnur Yatastad Vishayamati. This is that verse, these two verses. So in that he says, not only does bhakti make the Jiva Krishnonmukh, but it makes Krishna Jivonmukh also. Krishna starts taking special interest on the Jiva. Krishna starts thinking, oh, here is my man. It is my responsibility now to protect him, take care of him completely. Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami aham. I should personally do it. Krishna feels obliged to personally take care of the devotee. Right? So, therefore, anyway, this is a quick overview of how bhakti destroys everything. And then Shukadeva Goswami says we are still doing the overview. Na tatahi agam rajan puyeta tapa adibihi yata krishnarpita pranastat purusha nishevaya. So therefore he says, O king, a person cannot become purified by austerities and other processes to the extent that the devotees who offer their lives to Krishna become purified by the service of the Lord. How we saw. This is 6.1.15. Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya restated in this verse actually. Very clearly says, by all the other processes, he cannot, the sin cannot be destroyed to the extent it is destroyed by the practice of Shuddha Bhakti. Then, so he says, and then he comes to today's verse. Sadaichino hyayam loke pantaha kshemo akuto bayah shushila sadavo yatra narayana parayana. I have already spoken on the purport. So you cannot criticize me for not spending sufficient time on this verse. The first theme I discussed was Srila Prabhupada's purport. I elaborated on that. So please do not criticize me for, reaching this verse so late. We will try to do little bit whatever justice possible. So here he says, Ayam loke pantaha, the path followed by these persons, Shushila Sadhava, who are friendly and virtuous. There is an incentive on the path of bhakti to be friendly. And devotees naturally become virtuous. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunes tatra samasate suraha. So naturally, so the process itself generates virtue. Punya Shravana Kirtana. So the process itself generates virtue in the petitioners. Okay. And then, so such, who are these people who are Shushila Sadhava? Narayana Parayana, those who are surrendered to Narayana. And their path, what is the path of Narayana Parayana, it is bhakti. And what is the nature of that path? Sadrichinaha. It is certain. Kshemaha. It is auspicious. And it is akuto bhayaha. It is free from the fear of obstacles. Three things. So, now we will quickly go through some points about this. I'm just going to skim. Okay, I will share the slides with you anyway. I will share the slides with you. You can go over them. But I will just put the essential points. So we have seen, we are going to see how is bhakti certain, how is bhakti auspicious, how is bhakti free of fear of free from the fear of obstacles, and how there is an incentive to be friendly on the path of bhakti. So these are the four aspects we are going to discuss very briefly. I'm just going to skim through it. No time to go over it in detail. Okay. So bhakti is certain and bhakti is auspicious. Okay. How? Because bhakti bestows the 6 benefits. Okay. And it does a thorough job. From the beginning stage of destroying suffering, Kleshagni, which we have already seen, I'm not going to touch it. Shubhada, Pantaha Kshemo, Sadrichino Hyayam Loke, Panta Kshemo Akutoba. Kshema means auspicious. The path is auspicious. How bhakti is auspicious? Shubhani Prinanam Sarvajagatam Anuraktata Sadgunaha Sukam Iti Adini Akyatani Manishibihi. So Srila Rupa Goswami says, auspiciousness means 4 things. Who is said to be auspicious? One who has affection for all jivas. That is one symptom of auspiciousness. Being attractive to all jivas. This is the second symptom of auspiciousness. If one is endowed with all good qualities, he is said to be auspicious. If someone is happy, he is said to be auspicious. And practice of bhakti bestows all these 4 things. Okay. It makes the person develop genuine compassion for all living entities. And there are verses which are proofs. We don't have time to see the proofs. I will just. And Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata. He becomes, because he will be endowed with so many good qualities, he will be very attractive, not only to human beings, but also to animals. You see, in the extreme case, where when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through Jarikanda forest, even the tigers and deers, they got attracted. Sadgunadi pradatvam yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunes tatra samasate sura. So all good qualities are bestowed. And sukha pradatvam. In the initial stage, means bestowal of happiness. In the initial stage, when one has not yet reached the higher stages of bhakti, even the person starts getting a better quality of material happiness also. And Brahman, and at later stages, at the stage of Ruchi, Asakti, etc., he develops, he experiences a happiness which is on the level of Brahman, liberation. And then when he reaches the stage of Bhava and Prema, he experiences a happiness, the happiness of Rasa, Sandrananda Vishatma, So like that. So in the early stages, why would people give up a process when there are too many obstacles and when there is lack of experience of happiness? All of that is taken care. Kleshagni, Shubhada, both are taken care by bhakti. So he gets inspired. And then when he goes further, there are proofs that Srila Rupa Goswami gives. I'm skipping that. Then when he goes further, he experiences a bliss which makes even the bliss of liberation seem insignificant. Okay, so he pulls him further by removing obstacles and by giving happiness, a great kind of bliss. Bhakti pulls him together. Moksha lagutakrit. It makes liberation seem insignificant. Then he gets other benefits which are very, very rare and impossible to attain through the other practices. And then when he reaches the stage of prema, he experiences such a condensed bliss which is unimaginable in other practices. Sandrananda Visheshatma, a kind of condensed bliss. And then the sixth benefit that he gets is Shri Krishna Akarshini. So his practice of bhakti attracts Krishna. Krishna becomes very eager to establish a relationship with this person. And when Krishna establishes a relationship, what is left? There is nothing that is left, right? So in this way, from beginning to end, sure shot, Sadrichinaha and Shemaha, certain path, because at every stage it gives a dose of something which keeps the sadhaka absorbed in the process. He need not resort to anything else than just keep practicing the path of devotional service. Okay, so this is Sadrichinaha, this is Shemaha. So out of the four qualities, four things that we were going to discuss, two things we have discussed, not exactly discussed, just read, that's all, right? So we have addressed Sadrichinaha. Why is it certain? Because it catches hold of the hand of the practitioner and takes him step by step by step. At every step, giving the devotee what he needs to feel satisfied and move on, provided he avoids offenses. So Sadrichinaha, certain. Kshemaha, auspicious. We saw why it is auspicious. Next we will see how is the path of bhakti akutobhaya, free from the fear of obstacles. So bhakti is free from fear. How? So in the 11th canto, there is this verse where one of the Navayogendras, Shri Kavi, he says, Manye akutaschit bayam achyutasya padambuja upasanam nityam udvigna buddher asad atma bhavad vishwatmana yatra nivartate bihi, he says. For one whose intelligence is disturbed by falsely identifying himself with this material world, I consider that worship of the Lord's lotus feet, which is bhakti, which produces fearlessness from this material world, is the highest goal, because Paramatma destroys all fear by that worship. Paramatma here refers to Bhagavan. Okay. So he says that, in my opinion, this bhakti is the only process. Udvigna buddher asadatma bhavad. Manye akutaschit bayam achyutasya padambuja upasanam. Worship of the lotus feet of the Lord, which is bhakti, is the sure shot process which creates fearlessness of this material world, because ultimately, because it addresses every stage of our reason for coming into this samsara. The root cause, especially the root cause, our Krishna Bahirmukata, is addressed. And later he says, Yanastaya naro rajan na pramadyeta karhichit dhavan nimilyavanetre naskalenna patediha. He says, one who accepts this process of devotional service will never become affected by pride. Na pramadyeta karhichit. Because pride is caused due to mode of passion, and by practice of bhakti, tadarajas tamobhava kamalobhadayasche chetayete rana viddam stitam satye prasidati. Gradually, the influence will go away. And dhavan nimilyavanetre, he can run with his eyes closed and he will never trip or fall. There are many meanings to this. I will just, without going into the full purport, I will just briefly discuss the meanings. What does it mean to close the eyes and run? One of the meaning is, on the path of bhakti, any inadvertent mistakes committed is not punished. But on the path of karma, jnana, yoga, etc., any inadvertent mistakes are punished. So that is why that is one of the meanings of dhavan. So nimilyavaneta. Nimilya means closing the eyes. When one is running with the eyes closed, running, dhavan indicates as long as there is enthusiasm to practice the path of bhakti. sincere enthusiasm to practice the path of bhakti, any inadvertent mistakes committed in that enthusiastic practice of bhakti is forgiven. That is one meaning of dhavan nimilyava netre. Another meaning of dhavan nimilyava netre is that if somehow or other okay, let me just check. Yeah, if somehow or other there is some lack of purity or something, it is not a serious concern for on the path of bhakti. Whereas nam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kalaha. But in the case of karma, jnana, etc., there are many rules and regulations, many instructions of purity and all that. But on bhakti, there are many limbs which can be done without much purification. Right? Anyway, I will just. And then the final point, fourth point is there is incentive for good friendships on the path of bhakti. So this you know, the whole of Bhagavatam is filled with this, you know, because ultimately on the path of bhakti, progress is impossible. It is not difficult. It's not that it is difficult. It is impossible without the association of devotees. So there is every incentive to seek association, and you can stay in association, and association means loving association. Okay, so therefore there is so much glorification of association of devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam only for the practitioners of bhakti. Otherwise, on the path of jnana, karma, etc., on the path of jnana, karma, etc., you know, there is so much emphasis on staying alone. Vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samsadi, as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. It says Vivikta desha sevitvam. One should stay in a separate place for jnana and yoga. Whereas for bhakti, it is mentioned Vivikta ruchya paritosha atmani vina harer gunyushapana. If you have not developed taste for Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, Bhakti, then you should stay alone, because that is better for Jnana, Karma, etc. But for the purpose of Bhakti, association is so important. And therefore, there is every incentive for developing good friendships. Therefore, on the path of Bhakti, those who have understood the process and the importance of association nicely, every single person will endeavor for good friendship. So therefore, on the path of bhakti, you will get good friends. And in the association of those good friends, like you all Bhakti Sangha devotees, you know, you have such, I mean, in fact, I should not say you all, I should say we all, because I also feel very much an integral part of this wonderful association. So, you know, there is such incentive for good friendships, and there is so much nice friendship, and the path becomes so easy. It becomes so, because you don't have to struggle alone. You don't have to struggle alone. Devotees are willing to struggle with you. So, therefore, the path is so pleasant. The path of bhakti is pleasant, and the main reason is association of devotees. That is the main reason why the path of bhakti is so pleasant. So, anyways, as always, you know, I think I never learn my lesson. I always over prepare and under deliver and feel dissatisfied, and maybe keep you dissatisfied also. But I don't want to stop this without leaving at least some time for some discussions and questions. So yeah, please go ahead, and if there are any quick discussion points, questions, we can take.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Then pranam
Yes,
to you and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Gauranga. What a beautiful class, Prabhu. What an amazing class again. you just keep us binded to our laptops and computers. Thank you for confirming, Prabhu, that you are our friend. At least I have no bhakti, no love, no regulations, no self-control, no detachment. So at least you confirming that you are a friend of somebody like me, I can get a small glimpse of what you have, Prabhu. I'll be okay. I'll be happy. How much love you have for Krishna, Prabhu. That's unbelievable. Nobody can stop you, Prabhu. That watch that was not working, I think even it was working, it wouldn't have stopped you. You narrated the story. So, Prabhu, I'll not waste any more time saying something from my mouth, which is useless. We'll just go to the question answer session. Radha Mataji, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Radha Mataji?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't unmute. Thank you so much, Raj Prabhu, and thank you so much, Balaram Shakti Prabhu. As Prabhu was saying, such an amazing class. Prabhu, I have two questions. I'm not sure if it's relevant or not, and you just said that we should not ask questions like that, but I will still ask. So one thing is because you brought the topic of Nishkam Karma Yoga. When we say Nishkam Karma Yoga, I've heard from another senior devotee that the goal of Nishkam Karma Yoga is get liberation, Prabhu. Is it correct, Prabhu?
Yeah. Ultimately liberation.
So they're not exactly seeking for Krishna's love or Krishna prema or no, right? But they can still be dovetailed towards, because Bhagavad Gita speaks nice things about. Every process is being said. It's been nicely glorified in Bhagavad Gita, and of course the bhakti is the topmost. But the Nishkam Karma Yogi can come to bhakti, right, Prabhu?
If he gets the association of devotees and if he develops faith in bhakti, then he can come to bhakti.
Okay. And the difference between Sakam Karma Yoga and Nishkam Karma Yoga is one is with desire, material desire, other is liberation. That is the only difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Prabhu,
there are some more difference, but they are not very critical. This is the main difference.
Okay. So, and then coming to like Gyan. When we say Gyan, Prabhupada also sometimes substitute Buddhi Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. And then like Buddhi means intelligence, and intelligence is used like we are also like Bhagavad Gita itself is so much of Gyan, and that is so essential for the devotees. So how do we Bhakti Yogi is like, he is like a, how do you say, it's Bhakti is like a South Indian thali. It has sar, it has sweetness, it has everything in it. So Bhakti is also, it's like it accommodates everything. So we are also taking the Gyan like from last 1.5 hours. What you're saying is not necessarily Krishna Leela or anything, relishable, as in what do you say, it is not entertaining, it is not a pastime of Krishna, it is all Gyan that you are giving. How do we distinguish between this Gyan and that Gyan, and how do we understand Krishna is talking about which Gyan when he's talking about
we don't have to understand, the acharyas will clarify.
Okay.
So the acharyas say, this Gyan is unfavorable for bhakti, so we don't accept it. So this is favorable for bhakti, we accept it. So when we say Gyan, we are not against knowledge. What we mean is, we are against the path of Jnana Yoga, which is not necessarily favorable to bhakti. So we don't say Jnana Yoga again. So just like we don't say His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada all the time. We may say Prabhupada says. So just like, so there in the same way, when we say it should be Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, it means it should not be covered by the influence of the path of Jnana Yoga. Otherwise, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito, bhakti is not against the favorable knowledge that is favorable for devotional service. It's about unfavorable knowledge.
So basically, whichever knowledge that takes us or leads us to Krishna is we take, and whatever
whichever knowledge that the acharyas have confirmed is favorable for us towards Krishna, that knowledge.
Okay, bro. Yeah, that makes more sense. Thank you, bro. Very grateful. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Mother Gail.
Thank you, Radha Mataji. Mother Gail, yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Well, if it were up to me, none of your clocks would have any batteries at all when you give class, but I know we have time constraints, so I'll just ask my question, which are a few. One is that I think you said that bhakti destroys our prarabdha karma. And I just need a little clarification there because, you know, we're walking around with these bodies, you know. So the fact that we're walking around with these bodies, would you say that that is not, our bodies are not prarabdha karma? It's just Krishna's arrangement.
No, it's not prarabdha karma. I'll give an example, Mataji. Let's say if you are live your own house in which you are living, okay. So, but then there is some money constraints. Wish to sell that house, okay. So you sell it to someone else, but then because you are attached to that house, you may choose to pay rent and stay in that same house, okay. So till yesterday it was your house, you were staying in it. Today it is not your house, but still you are staying in it, right? So because you are staying in it does not necessarily mean it's your house. So when someone takes actually your body is according to prarabdha karma, but the moment you take devotional service, Krishna purchases it.
Yeah.
So and he allows you to stay in that body, but he may do some tinkering and changes according to his wishes. Karma will not decide. If karma decides that in this particular body, you know, some a particular disease has to manifest at this particular age, so Krishna decides no, that's not needed. So Krishna said so. So therefore, no one can say clearly it is your body is a manifestation of prarabdha karma. So I say, how do you know? How do you know? Karma is invisible. Krishna's hands are invisible. So when we are talking about two invisible factors which are controlling, how can you be so sure that it is your body is due to prarabdha karma? Krishna has purchased it. Krishna purchases it from karma, and then he decides what he needs to do with the body. So therefore, this is an argument of the smartas, those are of those who are, you know, for those who are not devotees. They say that oh, your body is the proof that your prarabdha karma is not destroyed. It is like telling the very fact that you are staying in this house means that it is your house. No, yesterday I sold it, and from today I am renting it out. You know, I am staying as a tenant there. So it's not your house. So just because you're staying in that house does not necessarily mean it's your house. So is that relevant, Madhuri?
Yes, I mean, that's actually the understanding that I was having. I just needed clarification since you said that, you know, bhakti destroys prarabdha karma. So I just wanted to make sure. So as soon as I or anybody decides that bhakti is my goal in life and my only goal in life, at that moment, Krishna purchased my house.
Yes.
Okay. And then another statement you made was that, I think you made, was that jnana can make you aware of your constitutional position. So there, my doubt was that jnana can only make you aware that you are not your body, but because it doesn't necessarily make you aware that you are a servant of Krishna, then actually you have not yet become aware of your constitutional position, is it?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you can say like not complete constitutional position, some intermediate constitutional position. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then one last thing. Yeah, I was just curious, why would a person who has not atoned, I'm talking about a materialist, if they have not atoned for their sinful activities in their present life, why, I mean, it's the same sinful activity, so why would the punishment for that double or be increased in their next life?
Because of delay, just like the interest keeps sinking. If
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's like a loan shark type thing. Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
You
one
gotta
who
pay
is
that off right
intelligent
away.
will realize that I am in a losing battle. People, those who have intelligence, they will understand. I'm waging a losing battle here. I better choose the right path.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I'll stick to Bhakti. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Prahlad Anand Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for allowing me to ask you a question. First of all, I must congratulate your Guru Maharaj who gave you the name Balaram Shakti Das, because you got all the Shakti from Balaram, just like Romharsi and Ugrasaji. Your excellent lecture removed so many of my doubts. And
gave me that name, Prabhu, because I need Shakti. That's why.
But you already endowed with all those Shaktis. Otherwise, how can you speak like this? It's such a detailed discourse on the Ajamila Khan. I have taken every slide which you projected, but I'm requesting the organizers if they can put these PPTs for all of us.
Every time I share, Prabhu. Every time I share, it's all shared in the group. Every time after class I share the PowerPoint.
That's so nice. It's such a nice learning tool and also a preaching tool. Okay, so coming to the question is the root cause of all these things is our bahirmukh. Jiva is bahirmukh. Apart from misusing our independence of slight marginal independence we have, that we make such choice. Is there any other root cause by why I became bahirmukh to Lord Krishna to come to this material world? Is there any other kind of, or that's only?
Sheila, is there any other cause why I chose to turn my face away from Krishna?
Yes.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Bhaktyaloka, he describes that this question, there is an answer to this question, but the answer to this thing can be understood only when we go back to the spiritual world.
I see. Okay. So that means that I have to reach the stage of self-realization, my constitutional position. But I understand akam sarva kamova moksha kamudardi tivrana bhakti yogena yajit purusham. So this bhakti only will dissolve all my bahirmukta and I'll be able to reach Lord Krishna's favors. Thank you very much for allowing me this, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Sukhakar Krishna Prabhu.
Balaram Shakti Prabhu, as our Prananda Prabhu told, your name Balaram Shakti, I feel you have been sent by Nityananda Prabhu here for making every one of us, get closer to real Krishna consciousness. Really, Prabhu, you are so intelligent. I think you have really made a doctorate or something in all these things. So nicely, the charts, flow charts and all. I really want to join your institute. You should do something because I find amazing thing you have done. Really fantastic. Awesome.
This is all cut. Probably this is all cut paste material if you.
But the cut paste also so difficult to, you have studied so much to make it easily like rasgulla to eat. No, once you get it, we can easily see it and we can help so many people. So wonderful, and we are really indebted to you, Balaram Shakti. So one point I wanted to ask Prabhu, this I have read this Dhanurdhar Maharaj, there was a lecture I was listening. He was telling about Rang Tarang Bhakti and waves of Bhakti. It was very, very complicated. There he says that we are going through the 8 stages of Ado, Shraddha, Tada, Sadhu, Sangha. It goes to Prema. But from Prema only the Bhakti starts. it goes so many other stages. So I was wondering, that means it is a very deep, intense. It is like a samundar. We're just seeing the drop, how to go near the drop. So the Rang Taranga Bhakti, then I stopped reading that. I found it little higher level. Then Ananda Vrindavan, Champu, and some books and all, I got it from Balu Maharaj and all. So I said that it is too much to go so much deep there. Let us go step by step doing this.
Okay. So is
You would
there
have
a comment or
definitely
question?
No, you would have definitely gone through. I was just very confused about Ranga Taranga Bhakti and these waves of Bhakti and how that
Taranga
Bhakti starts.
Rangini? Did you mean Taranga Rangini?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are like stages of unsteady devotional service. And naturally, when we cross those stages of unsteady devotional service, gradually it becomes steady devotional service, Nishta. Then we reach the stage of Ruchi, where we start developing very tangible attraction to the process of devotional service. Then from there, we reach the stage of Asakti, where we become completely controlled by our desire to serve Krishna. And then eventually we reach the stage of Bhava Prema, like that. So it's a gradual process. As long as we keep sticking to our basics nicely, hearing, chanting, association of devotees, worshipping the deities, gradually over a period of time, with purification, we will go through these stages.
I found this Aindra Prabhu's the songs are so good. If I listen for 4-5 hours, there's something in that also. The Sankirtan is so strong that the chanting sound to me is low, so much, not so much interesting. But the Sankirtan with the Kirtan Mela and all are making big change in the taste of the bhakti.
Yeah, definitely. Voice of a pure devotee and chanting the Maha Mantra, definitely it has a very potent effect, no doubt.
So there was a controversy, Prabhu. Aindra Prabhu, because he is such a great devotee and he never left Vrindavan. So there were some devotees from Delhi, they said, how come Krishna can do that? He's inside that room, he couldn't come out. So he was trying to open the door. Then he fell at the feet of, and next day he didn't go to temple till 9 o'clock. They just broke and found his. So they said, how can this happen? I said, how can this? Krishna can do anything. No, Krishna want to call him in some other plan, like that I told. Because they asked that it is not, that means Krishna is not fair. I said, you cannot find fault with Krishna. You cannot say he's prarabdha karma, because he's a pure devotee. He's beyond all those. So they were asking why it happened.
Because Krishna wanted to take him, so he took.
In some other world, somewhere, either Prabhu is there in some other planet.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. You are from which place, Prabhu? You are from North India or which
South
where
India.
you are now? Tamil Dana. Tamil Dana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sakara Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay. I think one last question, Haridas Thakur Prabhu, and then I think we'll pause.
Balaram Shakti Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for nice class.
Yes,
Since the episode is of Jamil and previously also you spoke about the hellish planets and how Parikshit was very much concerned about those who go to hell. So question is that, is it that all the people, whether devotees or non-devotees, has to go to, I have heard this, that they have to go to Yamaraj, and Yamaraj will decide where they have to go further. Is it like that? That is question number one.
No. We will take first question first, Prabhuji. No, this is not true, because later Yamaraj himself will tell, Yamaraj himself will tell to Yamadutas his instructions. He says, Jihvana Vakti Bhagavad Gunanama Deyam Etaschana Smaratita Charanardam Krishnaya no Namati Yat Shiraye Kadapi Tanayadvam Asato Akrita Vishnu Krityan. So like that he says that who is fit to be brought to hell. This is Yamaraj speaking to Yamadutas. He says, Jihvana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanama Deyam. One whose tongue has not sung the glories of Krishna, you should bring him here. Chetaschana Smaratita Charanarvindam. one whose mind has not meditated upon the lotus feet of Krishna, you should bring him here. Or Krishnaya no namati yat shekadapi, one whose head has not even once bowed down to Krishna, you should bring down to him. But you should bring that person to. So therefore, while devotees chant the names, bow down to Krishna, remember Krishna, meditate on Krishna, why would they be brought to hell? So this is one who has once chanted with devotion, never ever he can go to hell. This is Yamaraj's standing order, standing instruction to the Yamadutas. They will be punished if they bring devotees to hell, actually.
Okay, then what about those people who who keep committing sins and also they keep maybe once in a while coming to temple offering obeisances? What about them?
Well, if they come to temple so that they can keep their sinful activities going, so that is committing sins on the sake of the holy name. So if they keep doing that, even whatever little bit that they get due to practicing their bhakti, they will lose that, and then they will become fit to go to hell, actually.
And those who hear that they should not commit sins, and they still are attracted to commit sinful activities, what about them?
As long as they don't the seventh offense of committing sin on the strength of the holy name, as long as they feel regretful and remorseful of doing that and are trying their best, then the process of Arthanavritti will remove those sinful desires, and eventually they will no longer be troubled by those desires, and those people will never go to hell.
Yeah, yes, bro, that's a very hopeful answer. But at the same time, we hear sometimes some people, some devotees, they say that no, we are attracted to bhakti. We want to purify ourselves, but still sinful tendencies are there, and because of which we keep committing sins. And then what is the way out? Because here they are attracted to bhakti, also at the same time they are attracted to sinful activities.
Yeah,
both
the
are happening.
attraction. Yeah, the attraction to sinful activities is born out of their conditioning, and their attraction to bhakti is born out of their faith. So therefore, Krishna takes the attraction that is born out of faith seriously, and not attraction which is born out of our conditioning. Krishna removes it, and Krishna takes attraction that is born out of our faith seriously. So otherwise we will I mean, practically everyone falls in that category. I mean, those who take up to bhakti, they have attraction to sinful activities also, and they have attraction to bhakti also. And gradually, under a period of time, anartha nivritti happens. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini means Ekadesha Vartini, Bahudesha Vartini, Prayiki, Purna, Atyantiki, like that. He describes 5 different stages of gradual anartha nivritti. So practically almost every sadhaka who takes up to bhakti, he takes up to bhakti with some or other kind of conditioning and simple desires only. And only gradually over a period of time, gradually those desires go. But there is a difference between inclinations which are born out of one's conditioning and inclinations born out of one's faith. So inclinations which are born out of one's conditioning, one is regretful of that. An inclination which are born out of one's faith, one very happily pursues that. So we want to happily chant sincerely, we want to happily please our guru, we want to happily accept the association of devotees, but we regretfully may succumb to our sinful tendencies. So when there is a regretful indulgence, regretful succumbing, that is the indication that that desire is born out of our conditioning and not out of our faith. And as long as we identify it as a desire born out of our conditioning, as an anartha, then Krishna takes that seriously and destroys that anartha, like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And secondly, I have a question that the son of Sandipani Muni was taken to Yamaloka. So then Krishna had to go there and retrieve him back. So does it mean that is it because of some such kind of sinful activity? I mean, there is a question that he's a son of Sandipani Muni, who is then a spiritual master of Krishna. How can such a soul go to Yamaraj? I mean Yamaloka. That is a question.
Well, I have to what the acharyas say about it too. I cannot, if there is a pastime, I don't exactly recollect. I do recollect that he was taken to Yamaloka, but the reason and the explanations that the acharyas give for that, I don't exactly recollect, so I cannot comment on that. But having said that, the general principle is just because he is Sandipani Muni's son does not necessarily mean that he must be a very perfected devotee. I think in the recent Bhagavatam class at Chopati, this is what we were discussing also. It is not necessary that just because he is Sandipani Muni's son, even Krishna's own son was, what is it, Bhaumasur, Banasur, he was Krishna's own son, so not necessary that just because he's, while Sandipani Muni's son can be a devotee, but not necessarily because he is Sandipani Muni's son. So that is not necessary generally. It can be in many cases, but it is not always very reality. But I can refer and get back to you, bro, on why Sandipani's son was taken to hell, because I don't exactly recollect what the acharyas say in this particular context.
And one last thing, Prabhu, that those who perform bhakti, they are very dear to the Lord, and not only them, that also their relatives also become very dear to the Lord. This we have heard in the case of Prahlad Maharaj. So looking from that angle, so how this person, son of Sandipani Muni, son was taken to the hellish planets.
I have to refer to the what they say and then only comment on it. So I cannot comment on it right now.
Fine. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for clearing all the doubts. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Hare Krishna. So I think we are way past the ending time. So I think we should pause here. So thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. We will continue this later.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for coming again on the call, and thank you for dedicating all your time to us and just explaining us how this process is working and where we are standing. Thank you so much, Prabhu. We are very grateful to you, Prabhu, and we look forward to your association again in the future, Prabhu. Dear devotees, let us pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpataru bhashyacha kripa sindhu bhevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ji ki jai. His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhu ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
I think devotees are unable to unmute themselves. Okay.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Very nice. Now I given the option to unmute.
Okay.